Hello, everyone, and welcome to KabU Q&A with Senior Teacher Tony Kosinec. We do apologize for the slight delay due to technical difficulties, so thank you for hanging in there and giving us a few minutes to straighten that out. If you're viewing on Facebook or YouTube and you're a student, Zoom is up and running now. So
Mary,
you can...
bulletin, Mary. We're not on Facebook and we're not broadcasting because we haven't solved the whole problem. But we don't want to leave our students sitting here, so we're gonna start with with them. And if we solve the other, the technical problem, then we'll welcome those friends in. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Tony. Thanks for the full picture of what's happening. So welcome to those here in Zoom. And we'd love for you to ask live questions to Tony. That way, if you have a follow-up question or you would like him to elaborate on his response, then you can follow up and do that. All you need to do is put the hand icon up and we'll call on you to ask your question. You can also type a question in the chat if you're not comfortable asking Tony your question directly. And please just limit the chat for the questions. Sometimes when there's other sidebar conversations, it's difficult for our tech team to find your questions efficiently, and we don't want to miss anyone's questions. So, and if you can turn your camera on, if you're in an appropriate location, and you can do that, that always helps tremendously with our connection and helps Tony to feel your questions better as well. Tony, I know we're getting started a little bit late, but it's always a joy and a pleasure to see you and be together for these events are always amazing. And there's always such a warm feeling of family here. So thank you again. Always wonderful to work with you.
And you're Mary. Yeah, we're not on, we're not broadcasting, and you should have seen, like, behind the scenes, all of the stuff that's going on. Like, there's one problem, then there's another problem, then we can't get a hold of the person that needs to do that, and we need to have this for that. And it was just, that tells you how very important this meeting is. The stronger the resistance to connection, the more light is actually there in potential. And we're just, maybe perhaps not even we're not matched to the light that's coming in. Oh, I got a message now. You are live on YouTube. Yes, we are live on YouTube. Yes. So welcome to YouTube, and welcome to our friends here. The reason that I'm saying that that the more the resistance, the more the light, is this points to the rules of the game. It's what Kabbalah is about. How do you play the game of life? We're taught a lot of things as we grow up. One of the things we're not taught is, how does this work? We externalize everything, and we think that the rules are external to us, and that if we can fix things outside of us first, then we'll have the right conditions for us to play the game correctly, to live correctly, to have peace, to have the things that we really want. And we think externally because our inner nature at the beginning of the game is in the complete opposite form to the thought and the nature and the laws, the rules behind the game itself. And so we simply cannot grasp the importance of our own intentions and emotional states, and how that they're not actually reactions, they're causal. But we don't understand how that could be. Nobody teaches that, because that's part of the game. The game is that you only get to learn the rules of the game if you if that's what you truly desire, and that desire has to be stronger than all of the supposed external events, because our desire and who we want to be fulfilled, is it me, or is it this whole picture, or it gets sort of complex and not simple, but it's all based on an initial desire. If the most important thing in a person's heart is to know not only how to play the game, but how to play it well, meaning how to bring enjoyment to everybody else, then you start getting clues as to where you might find the manual and instructions on how to apply it. Because even if a person finds the books of Kabbalah or books that purport to be Kabbalah, they're not going to understand it. They're going to be wearing the kind of egoistic glasses that keeps their perception of what they are reading and exposed to completely within the operating system of the ego, and it doesn't work. It begins to work when you get an explanation from a lineage that has attainment, and when you get that explanation in connection with other people who also have that desire, like the people you see around you in the squares on the screen. I don't know what we're seeing on the screen on YouTube, but if you can show like the whole, the gallery view, it's all of us together that are the vessel for understanding the rules of the game, which is what we call light, which is what is attainment. And when that starts to happen, we really see a very different world. We see that the whole thing is constructed in order to do nothing but to give pleasure, adventure, and fulfillment. But if we don't develop to be like that inside, we don't see that. We see a world of war and disease. And we see, great potential changes and resistances that are bringing a great deal of light. We see them as destruction when they're not at all. They're just transitional states. So that's what Kabbalah is. Kabbalah is a methodology in which we set up a learning situation for us and for others, in which the rules of the game are part of the learning situation. And then we absorb that through our relationship with others, which I know you're at the beginning of these courses, but that's where it's going to lead us. It's going to lead us into the practical stuff that really creates a world of peace, a world of wholeness and fulfillment. But it doesn't exclude the resistance or the barriers or the problems that we had getting on air, because that's the game. It teaches us how to do that, how to play that, how to feel that, and most importantly, how to use this quality of the will to receive that we've been given in order to invert it into the quality of spirituality or of wholeness, integral goodness and guidance. So, Mary, maybe it would be a good idea to tell our friends on YouTube and on Facebook how we're going to do this.
Okay, sure. I'd be happy to, Tony. If you're viewing on YouTube and Facebook, you can send in questions. We have a professional tech team that will gather those questions and feed those to us here in Zoom. I already see that Lewis had a question: what is Kabbalah's method or way? Tony just answered that, but if you have a follow-up question, you're welcome to send that in as well. So please send in your questions. We try to get to as many as possible during the broadcast. And also in Zoom, again, you can ask a live question, put the hand icon up, or you can type it in the chat. And it's great to see so many here on camera as well. It creates a very, very warm feeling. So first up, we do have a live question from Wendy. I'd love to hear your question, Wendy. Go ahead.
Okay, I apologize for not coming on live yet. I'm not ready to come on live. Tony, what is our responsibility during this terrible pandemic as learning Kabbalists to intervene, to participate. I was on an NIH call Thursday and Friday. I'm a chemist, a biological chemist, and it seems like they're caught in analysis paralysis. They know what the underlying issues are, and yet they're receiving too much light in the terms of Kabbalah. There's only one force, and we're dealing with pseudo forces, belief that there's a capitalist intention behind this, that kind of thing. What is your advice about how, as Kabbalists, as learning Kabbalists, we can do something now?
That whole situation is going to stay as it is until we make connection the primary reason that we do anything. They're not going to be able to do anything about it right now. Later they will. First, we have to do it. And that's why you're here. It's, I can't lay out mechanically how what we do will, how the gears will turn and make this change out there, because there is no out there. There isn't even a pandemic, actually. It's an expression of our lack of interconnection with the organs of our own, of what our real body is. A disease, and at the micro level of a virus is the most fundamental beginning of an intention that what should happen should be wholeness. And in the human heart, and it's going to stay like that until we turn to that and realize that we are completely and totally interdependent on each other to the point of life and death. That is, either we get awareness or we don't get awareness of nature's heart, which is what we would ultimately is health. So on the viral level, it means that there can be no scrap of intention in us that is not aimed at the well-being of others, because it's very clear now that we are not individuals. Otherwise, we wouldn't affect each other in such a potentially good and dangerous way at the same time. So what you're doing is you're doing the right thing. The pandemic is forcing us into this kind of scrutiny and into this kind of action. And we just need to be willing to agree with where nature has placed us and understand that we're heading, that it is evolving us towards a proper connection, the only connection that can be called health or getting over this pandemic. This is an act of the upper force that is thankfully not letting us waste any more time, but to get down to the key issue, that everything that happens is in the initial thought in us. It's not something you can change afterwards. If we started something with a particular intention and attitude, that's what we're going to get. So that's what we need to learn as Kabbalists, that it all starts from why and for whom are we doing this. Everything else is taken care of by the system itself. Thanks for the question.
Thank you. It's very helpful.
Okay, thank you, Wendy. Next question comes from a YouTube viewer, Nicole from Cape Town. By the way, several friends here and on other channels are posting where you're viewing from. And 5 or 10 minutes, I'd like to read that list. We're always interested to hear how much of the globe that we're covering. So